Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast where we are trekking through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and also on the call tonight, he's waiting for his green body paint to dry. It's Damien.
Yes, I have foregone my usual Star Trek t-shirt or uniform. Instead, because of our topic tonight, I am fully flagging green. Flagging green, look it up, boys. Only DM me on Telegram.
Because clearly we're talking about Wicked, right?
Yes,
sorry. In your household. And whose pheromones do I detect on this call? It's Lanita's.
Ooh, doing my dance. Ooh, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Hi, Mike Jones.
Very good. And I am thrilled to welcome back to the pod New York City's own Janeway Queen and the founder of To Proudly Go. It's the one and only Heather Wood. Hey, Heather.
Yes, hello. Yes, I do have the same effect as Orion women have on other women. So yes, they just get all bitchy and everything. So I'm sorry, Lanita. I'm also joined. Oh, go ahead.
It's like I don't need other women to be bitchy. That's just my natural state of affairs.
We love it. I love bitches. I'm also joined tonight with my number one, Sunil Nagle, who is our chief operating officer with To Proudly Go, also our board's vice chair, and my work husband. So yes.
Yes, welcome, Sunil.
Yes, hello.
Well, I want to know how many pips does Chief Operating Officer come with? Is that a full 3 pip? Is that a?
Unfortunately, I just have the 2 because I haven't completed 3 years of service. They're actually service pips. So all of our members that come all of our members of To Proudly Go get a pip for a year of service. So I will have my full commander rank in a few months.
I am delighted to learn this.
That is amazing.
Both cheesing so hard, like that is so awesome.
There's nothing that a Star Trek fan likes more than hierarchy.
but I will still call him Commander just to be on par with the Voyager series. We'll just call people Commander, even though that's not on their collar.
It's true. Yeah, Lieutenant. Sometimes
field promotion. I guess it works. I don't have the pips, but I have the balls. I guess.
God bless.
At least you don't have those weird, not the pips, but the Maquis members of the Voyager crew that got the little other thing that was
I never figured those out.
That's not real.
Random lozenges. They don't count.
Exactly. Most pips are just corn on someone's collar. So today we are the reason Damien is all dressed in green. If you're watching us on the YouTube, is we are talking about the green people in Star Trek, the Orions. And specifically, we thought about this topic because we were looking at I thought about it when I was rewatching The Cage the other day, and how horribly dated the scene with Vina as dressed as as the Orion is. And I think it's fascinating what the writers have done with this species over the last 50, 60 years.
Well, especially since they were in The Cage, they were in the first episode of Star Trek ever, and that we never really we never see their home world until just this year on Lower Decks we saw it.
Yep.
Right. One of the first alien species we see a Vulcan, we see a Telosian, and an Orion. Like those are the first up. And they're sort of a mystery. And I think that the reason they hold such an interesting place in our memory is, you remember on the original series, the end credits would do a slideshow of stills they often ended on Vina as the Green Orion. And it's like, who is she? We need to know more. And then we only got a little bit in the menagerie.
Now, here's my question.
Mm.
In order to proceed further, do one of us need to do the dance from Enterprise?
Yes. Yes.
That's really good, Sunil. You've been practicing. I can tell. You're going to be in the show this weekend.
We need the music.
Yes.
We need the music.
We need the music.
I probably have it somewhere.
I was going to say, have you done an Orion drag in the show?
Oh, fuck no. Oh, my goodness. I'd be like, you know what? We don't have a dry cleaning budget for To Proudly Go, so I'm not going to get green makeup all over my clothes.
No, you don't have to do makeup. You could get one of those body condoms and just order it like a couple sizes too small so it sucks in. So it's like basically skin, and then all you have to do is paint your face, a la Elphaba.
Yeah, she can barely do that to begin with.
Oh my gosh, that would be a lot. I would be burning up. But yeah, no, I did actually do Osira, and I got a green light to shine on my face. And it did not fucking work. So, but whatever, it was a good mix. I do love Osira. She's amazing. They need a justice for Osira. Seriously.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to go on a limb and say that is an unpopular opinion, and I would love to when we get it really into this, I put a pin in that because I want to hear your thoughts on Osira, because I don't feel like she's a popular villain in Star Trek.
Oh my God, I love her. But yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Right. I think we need to start with the cage, Mike, don't you think?
Let's start with the cage. Let's hop in the cage. So sorry, that's just a whole different podcast. Okay.
That's
so
our sister
what are you
podcast.
flagging these days?
Yeah, what does green mean in the hanky code? I'm not.
You got to look it up.
Googing.
I always have a handkerchief in my pocket just because I don't know, that's like how I was raised. I sweat a lot. I always have a hanky. And I try to coordinate it with whatever I'm wearing that day. And then someone was like, "Oh, you're into like," I think it was like
what color was it?
Or blood or something. It was a red hanky. And I was like,
red means
or you're
red
a blood.
hanky.
Or you're a blood. And Mike Jones, I don't think you've been jumped into any gangs. So let's not be wearing the blue or the red. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Wow. No. I have Googled.
Wow, she is on fire. She has she's giving drag advice.
Yeah.
And she's questioning Mike Jones's street cred.
I told you I am coming in hot today. Fixing a garage door has really empowered my inner dyke. It's insane. Listen,
I love it. I love it, and I'm taking notes. I am. So you're ready for the captaincy.
No, I'll stay in the background. Stage manager by trade. I just want to run it. I just want to run things behind the scenes so nobody knows, so I can get my paycheck and still be out in the world.
Wizard.
Don't look behind the curtain. So now, Damazon, are we calling this color that you have Hunter Green or Kelly Green?
Kelly Green.
Because we're going with Kelly Green.
We're going with Kelly Green. And I trust our listener to look it up themselves.
You don't want us to say what it is.
Okay, then I won't say. Put it in the comments, listeners.
Put it in the comments, listeners. Yeah, all those comments we get.
I'm really disappointed you're not wearing heathered green.
This actually might be a heather green. I don't know. This is left over from the American Apparel circa 2000 and aught.
Oh my God!
We gotta play the music.
Yeah, right.
Okay, taking that fantasy away and talking about Captain Pike's fantasy in the cage. So there are a couple. I actually pulled the script because I from the internet, from the interwebs. Because I think that it's interesting to see on the page how this character was originally designed. So Pike is talking to Dr. Boyce, and he's talking about how he's tired of being a captain, or he's having a midlife crisis, let's be honest. And he says, "Oh, I could go into business on Regulus or on the Orion colony." And Boyce says, "You, an Orion trader dealing in green animal women, slaves?" So that kind of set the picture for what this
Animal
is.
women.
Animal women. So then when we go on in when the Telosians create this illusion for him to live out, we see the green animal woman dancing, and there is a guy who is talking to them, who in the script is the Orion, and he is not green. He's like the pimp, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So
Daddy?
the daddy, he says things like this, glistening green, it's almost like secret dreams a bored ship captain might have. Wouldn't you say it's worth a man's soul? Okay, first of all,
Oh, so good. Thanks, Mike.
I love that
well,
read.
MFA,
Very, very poetic. I love it. Yeah.
not in acting. So first of all, we have to remember who wrote these episodes. This is a lot of Gene Roddenberry, right?
Right. This is Gene Roddenberry, who our friend Aaron will remind us always wanted Deanna Troy to have 3 boobs.
Right.
Right. He's got a lot of like
Smut
weird
in him.
sexual. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Total Recall, I'd just be like, rip off.
It
Sorry.
happened.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. So then one of the other people at the table who's also a Starfleet officer says, funny how they are in this planet. They actually like being taken advantage of. And I'm pretty sure taken advantage of is a euphemism for straight up rape. Like, I don't know what else that could mean. They like being taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Used in any way, shape, or form, or fashion.
So that's the bar.
It means they pay other people's rent. That's what taking advantage of.
Oh, sure.
Obviously has to be.
Right.
No. Yeah, it's interesting that they start them off in such a way, and it's fascinating to me just how of the time and not of the time that was, because let's put it in context of the United States. Let's look at the times, and let's look at how people have thought about other cultures over time.
Mm.
This is a thing that there was even as we think about other cultures. I just read something the other day about such and such was just discovered in the 1950s. No, that natural landmark has been there for a time immemorial. The native people of that land knew it.
Right.
It hasn't been discovered by you.
Right.
And so it's interesting to see that, like, how that frames the narrative of everything.
Well, and it's interesting also because it seems to be like, they've painted her green, but all of the trappings seem borrowed from some sort of like Sultan's tent kind of moment,
Yes.
right? So that it is a known ethnic slant that they're giving this, and
yes.
Right.
As she is sort of belly dancing, as she is sort of,
Yes.
the bells and the drums and
the
sort
dance of the seven veils.
Correct. The Arabian Nights sort of thing, where it's like, oh, it's quote unquote, for the listener, quote unquote, exotic,
Right. It's full agrabah. Sorry.
I do feel like with the Orion women that it is, I think in a way, like we're talking about sort of empowerment of women in a way of like the men are so easily manipulated by skin and booby, and how easy that is to get what they want and what they need. And look, we can look back and still to this day of women that have to use that to get a leg up, to move forward, to use that to their advantage. And in a way, it's cringe. It shouldn't be that way. But in a way, if you gotta use it, then you gotta use it, right? I think that because it's a man's world, and I think that that's in a way what is definitely happening in the cage in some respects. So, I think it's like looking at it in the two sides of it, of like, well, men, they in this world. They're so easily manipulated by that, but they're the ones being kind of very clever and very sly. And it does read into like some very bad, sort of stereotypes of women and men, I think. But I think it's an interesting progression, as you were saying before, but when we were trying to prepare for this particular podcast, of like where that's taken us up till now. So, and I won't give away too much, but yeah.
And I can see your point about that. It's just in this instance, like, yes, women use what they got to get what they want. But in this instance, it's like she is truly like, she's a quote unquote slave. Like,
Right.
I don't think that she has the autonomy to do it. Unlike maybe later in our seeing of Orion women who actually have the autonomy to make the decision to use their womanly wiles and their pheromones to get ahead or get what they want. In this instance, as we're first seeing them introduced, they are sort of property that are being used because they are beautiful, because they have pheromones for the profit of someone else, or for the other person to gain from what it is that they can do.
Yeah, there's no sign
I
that
agree.
this version of the Orion woman has any agency yet. Like theoretically, we learn after the fact that maybe she did, that we just didn't understand that. But in the context that we have in just watching the cage rather, without any of the future knowledge,
Right.
And I wonder if
she's an
that's on
object.
sorry. I wonder if, to be, not to put too fine a point on it, I wonder if that is counterpoint to the Federation ideals. As in, this is an introduction to the character, to the world, in which is antithetical to what the Federation, what Starfleet is supposed to be. So that showing that there is still the opposite is actually on purpose. No, maybe I shouldn't say on purpose, because obviously it's on purpose, but it's actually the point of the portrayal.
Well, and it's also later on in that episode, the Telosians, they give Pike this sort of array of women to choose from, right? They have the sort of the yeoman who's like vulnerable and learning, and then they have the
ingenue.
Right, and then they have, and of course we've already seen the Orion slave woman who's like objectified, and then we see number one, who is like capable and cool and controlled, and it's this sort of like, what do men want?
Do they want someone smart and in control, or do they want someone that they can teach, or they want someone who has sexual agency?
Or do they want somebody to be sleazy and demure? That's from Total Recall.
When someone figures out what men want, will someone tell me?
Good luck.
So it's interesting. I was reading in the 50-Year Mission, the book by Mark Altman and company of the Trexperts, who he'll say, just stop ripping off my book and listen to my podcast instead. Don't. They're freaking crochetty. Listen to us instead.
There's room for both crotchety and fabulous.
But they had they couldn't. So the actress who played Vina, Susan Oliver, she died young at 58. So she was not interviewed for this book. But they talked to Majel Barrett about her, and there's a guy named George Pappy who did a documentary called The Green Girl, all about Susan Oliver, which I confess I did not watch in preparation.
I tried to find it. I didn't find it.
I wonder if it's even findable. But what he said that was really, first of all, we learned that Majel Barrett did all the makeup tests because she was on contract and Susan Oliver was free. And Gene Roddenberry found Susan Oliver from something else another show that he'd worked with her on, and had been courting her for like a very long time for this specific role, and used the fact that she was playing 5 characters to woo her to do it. But the thing that was like the most fascinating point that she had talked about at some point, that is in the documentary, is the reaction to men on set when she came out in her costume and her green makeup. There was something about her in that look that made everyone, either sort of, all the men anyway, avert their eyes uncomfortably or stand back and stare. So that the idea being, and she was of the belief that Gene Roddenberry had tapped into some kind of like really sort of deep male impulse with this whole look, and this objectified woman in green, that somehow being green made her less human, but not less desirable. I don't know.
Like it added
It ain't
that
easy being
barrier.
green.
Yeah.
It ain't easy.
And of course, she talked about all the obvious things, like I couldn't touch anything, like you can only move around a certain. And also, she wasn't a dancer.
Right.
They had that. Well, she worked extensively with a choreographer to be able to do that.
And she wasn't even human, just like the song. Are we human? Are we dancers? She wasn't either. Jesus.
That's some acting. Yvonne Craig, who is famously known as Batgirl from the 1960s TV show, appeared in a later episode, Whom Gods Destroy, as an Orion named Marta. And she, in her autobiography, she says that she was considered for Vina because she had a dance background. That's why her Batgirl kicks are all like ballet moves. But anyway, she also talked about the green makeup, like every time, because she had this love scene with William Shatner, and they had to keep changing his shirt. Like every time they cut and went back, he had green all over him. It's kind of interesting to look up some of the early makeup tests and things like that. But the production side of my brain.
Now I'm having a little bit of like a comedy thing. It's like, Captain Kirk, did you enjoy your time down there on the planet? No, because you have green all over yourself.
All over your crotch.
Yeah, right?
The telltale green.
He didn't sleep with anybody. No, you did.
It's funny.
Mike, is it fair to say that we only saw Orion women in the original series?
Well, that's the thing. If you go by the script, the guy who's like trying to, like, the car salesman who's trying to pitch to Pike, like, look at this green girl, like, wouldn't you like give your soul for her, that he is Orion, and like he reads as just Caucasian, but it doesn't I mean, if you look at canon, if you want to say like that was in the script but they never said it, then no, then we don't see a male Orion until Enterprise. Oh, that's not true. I just lied. In
lied.
Journey to Babel, or Journey to Babel.
I think they say Babel.
There is an Orion who is disguised as a
Andorian?
As an Andorian. So I guess we do see a male Orion.
I need to rewatch that episode. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is. It's interesting though that when you brought up Whom Gods Destroy, the difference in that Orion woman, just because similarities and differences. She's still being used at the hands of somebody else. Yeah. But it seems like she has just a slight bit more agency, maybe because she's supposed to be criminally insane. So what does that say? That like it's the insanity that gives her the power versus just being of her right mind. But I like did my little notes when I was watching. After I watched, I just wrote down like the quick thoughts. It's like she's still being used as a tool.
Yeah.
Right. And he speaks to her like a child. Like immediately, no. I was like, you not gonna speak to me like that. Like, I don't know who you think you are, but I'm a grown-ass woman. And you're in charge, but no, thank you, sir. But it's just interesting how it's still being used in service of a man.
Baby talk doesn't work for me either. So I'm there with you.
Like, what are we doing?
She's used to the point where she's actually discarded. Like Garth of Izar kills her as like an example of what he's gonna, just like Alderaan. You know what I mean? Like,
you are no longer useful to me, therefore you are no longer needed here on this plane.
Yeah.
But he got his in the end, so I was happy.
Well,
Are we led to believe in the original series that all Orion women are slaves?
I say yes.
I would say we are.
Yeah.
That the race of Orion women they're a slave race.
Green
I
animal
think
women.
that honestly, now please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that is truly dismissed until far later in lore.
Yeah, I
In
think you're.
canon, I should say, not lore, because we don't want to talk about lore.
Yeah,
Are we
I don't
gonna?
think I
Sorry.
don't think we see anything to contradict that at all until Enterprise, which
Until
is
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do we jump ahead to Enterprise?
Yeah, I think so.
Do we need to talk about listen, I watched all of it. Do we need to talk about animated series? You didn't even watch it. You don't even like the animated series.
I've watched it in the past. I'm happy to go into it.
The Orions.
Yeah, but the Time Trap and the other one. The one where they're stuck in the time rift, they go in the Klingon ship is there and they fire at them at the Enterprise and then they fire back, but the ship disappears. They're like, what the fuck is that? And then they follow through the subspace, woo, rift in time. And then they get sucked into who knows this interstellar dimension. And then it's like, we've got our own federation of planets where we've all been stuck here, which is
And one of them is an Orion woman.
Yes. Now she is not behaving as a slave woman, but maybe it's because it's a rift in time and now she has to like step up and be something different. Because didn't they say there's only one of each of the races at the table? Right. So what'd they do? Kill everybody else? Like, where's everybody else? Question one. And look,
question two, what's the noise that the rift makes again?
Listen,
Yes.
Oh, so no can come back. I sucked you into my crazy. It's but the thing about it's like in that one's like she's an advisor and she's like level-headed. Like it's the first time that we're seeing, I guess in a cartoon, they can be like, oh, you can have your own agency and you can actually contribute to the process. And was the only one who was like, they have to try. Let them try to get out.
Well, and let's not forget that the cartoon is Dorothy Fontana, DC Fontana. She was the showrunner of that. So I mean, it is the the animated series was the first Star Trek with a female showrunner.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that's a possible influence there.
Animated series are always ripe for trouble. I mean, He-Man. Those muscles, I've never been the same since the 80s.
and it was the first Star Trek series to win an Emmy, actually.
Was it really?
Animated series, yeah. So, hey, they should let more women run the shows.
Absolutely.
And then the only other one is the one where I said I didn't really think that they were Orions because they called them Orions. And they were the dudes, but they weren't green. They were like blue with helmets. They looked like
right.
What was the car racing show? Japanese. Not Batman.
Speed Racer?
Speed Racer. There it is. Speed Racer. Like that was the look that it reminded me of.
I totally forgot about the Orions. I feel like now I want some Oreos. So thank you. I'm now hungry.
Computer, please replicate us.
Some was like maybe some mint Oreos with a green center. They do establish them at I can't even say it right now. In the animated series, they really go into them being pirates, which I don't think had really been said before. They were like traders or and then that became like the norm from then on. Like the other veiled, not necessarily veiled, but the other references we get to the Orions are about their piracy or the Orion Syndicate. And I love that word, criminal syndicate. Organization.
It makes them sound so like devious, like, oh, the syndicate's coming for you. Versus like this gang of people.
But they're devious wearing neckties for a syndicate.
Uh, Yep. Sorry, I don't want to go down too much of a bird walk. I will edit this out. Anyway,
You will not.
Mike always does.
No.
How many
I always
times
say
in the
that.
actual podcast do you hear Mike Jones say, "I will edit this part
This
out,"
out.
and the
I
listener
know,
is
and
like,
then I don't, and then
"Fairly
I
certain
forget.
it's still in here."
We love it.
The
It's
way,
great.
okay, I'll just the thing I was gonna say. The word syndicate makes me think of the Peanuts Christmas special when she says, Christmas is all run by an Eastern syndicate. Like that was the first time I heard that word as a child, and it like stuck in my head as this like nefarious Christmas organization.
Yes.
So that's what I
awesome.
think of.
Peanuts deep cut. Okay, I like it.
I wish I had come prepared with more uses of the words, like nefarious uses of the word syndicate, because I feel like it must be a thing.
I feel like I'm just hearing sin, dick, it. And that's all I'm hearing. I'm just like, what are we? I like
Not
it.
on
I
me
like it a
for
lot.
not thinking of that first. That's
Yes.
absolutely why I
Well,
Absolutely.
and then it was 8. The dick was
Sin,
8.
dick,
I'm
eight.
sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that failed. Edit that out. Edit that out.
No,
No.
I you're loving it.
They tell me not to edit things out,
Can't
but
do it. Can't do it. We're unable to edit. We have to just. This is how it happened.
we're live.
Oh, okay. So now you can jump to Enterprise. I just wanted
Yes.
to talk about the animation just because it's a weird blip, but also it's like old but new, and then a change, and then an introduction to something that they seem to sort of run with as far as like Syndicate, not keeping with the Orion women not being used.
Does Syndicate first appear in the animated? Is that where we get that?
I'm not sure actually. They definitely call them pirates.
Let's say that it is, and we'll leave it to our
Let's
fact checker
just-
to edit it out.
You're
That's
gonna
what
get
I'm doing.
all this hate
Fact
mail.
checking, right?
I know.
We
love
just
it.
want mail.
123
mail.
Fake Street in New York, New York.
Yeah, it's like being in an abusive relationship. Any hate mail is at least mail. We know they're reading or they're listening.
They're listening to us.
Wait, who hates males? We got a problem.
I'll just say I got two reviews on Google, and one was a 1 star, and I'll just say jokes on them because I had 0 stars before. So
Yes.
You're 5 stars all the way from us. We're
Damn right.
thank you. Thank
All right, Damien, talk to us about Enterprise because it's your favorite show.
gosh, you guys, you're putting me on the spot here. First of all, I trusted an episode list that I shouldn't have, and it made me watch an episode that had no Orions in it.
We tricked you into watching
And was
extra
and was-
Enterprise.
Yes, and
It's been a long road.
it's a long road. It's a long road.
Oh,
Only 4
God.
seasons, so I don't know what you're bitching about. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it's 4 seasons of a shitty theme song. I mean, that in itself is skip intro. Thank you.
But
Go
our
ahead,
time
intro.
has finally come.
Oh,
I will see this dream come alive again.
it,
My God.
it
How far is
died.
he gonna go?
I love that someone knows all the words.
I think it's from the theme song. I
scariest
gotta be
part.
honest, I skipped it.
Honestly, why I know that is because I rewatched it before. Like it was easy. There was a skip button, and you'd have to scrub it through.
Yeah.
So I was usually too lazy to do that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But tell me the name of the episode that we're talking about because I
We
don't
can talk.
remember.
There are 2 of them. There's
Mhm.
Bound, and then there's Borderlands or Land.
So
Bound is the one
it's okay, Damien.
where it's okay.
Yeah, just take over.
It's okay. It's okay. Bound is
Save us, Lenita.
me talking about Enterprise. Yay! No, Bound is the one where they come on the ship and they're given to what
Yes.
is
Archer.
Steve? What is thank you, Archer. Literally just watched
God.
it. Still can't remember his goddamn name. Given to Archer.
It's our favorite series.
Favorite
Am I
of
the
all
only
time.
one who's like okay with the I'll not incriminate myself further. I see the looks. Never mind.
Oh no! Listen, no, there's no.
Actually,
We-
I'm the only one who can't seem to get through it, and I
That's
get
why
a
he's got a
lot
blank
of
stare.
I get a lot of grief for it, and I pick it up periodically to try and push through, and it's and actually this episode Bound was actually very interesting, and I found the
Isn't
trip
it?
into Paul thing interesting, and
Yeah.
I am still kind of offended at the retcon because I think the retcon is still not much better than the original, but we can get into that.
So
Right,
you have given it another chance. So at least you
I have,
do
and I
some-
periodically do, and it has its moments, yes. And
So you have some faith of the heart.
No, sorry.
Oh my God, Sunil, you are fired.
No, he is not. Absolutely not. That was the greatest opening.
Oh
I've
my God!
ever
Even
walked
after
in.
that bathtub he built you on that Roughing It planet.
You know what? It wasn't sanded as well as it should have been. Still have, splinters in my butt cheeks.
No, okay. So they are.
So they're
given to
gifted
Archer.
these women.
Right.
Correct. No, Archer is gifted.
Right. These three women.
Which at some point it looked like there were four, but apparently there are three.
That is in your imagination.
I know, I multiplied them. But at some point we learn, because the pheromone thing is where we learned about that here. Like, I don't remember ever hearing about pheromones anytime else. So it's like, ooh, they've got these scents that make men lose their mind. And
Well, we learned in the cage no human man can resist them.
Correct.
Here we just get explained what's happening.
Correct. And then all women are made sort of angry and bitchy because
they get headaches.
They're getting rid of the competition. They all showed up in sickbay with headaches. And what's the doctor's name?
Flock.
Dr. Flox.
Flox. Weird dude.
I still want to know what would have happened on let's call a spade a spade. What would have happened if not every male of the Enterprise was heterosexual?
Yeah, right. It's
what
like the
happens
straightest
then?
What happens to gay men?
Orion's pheromones. What if it was a ship of gay men?
Right.
Well, first of all, we'd get nothing done, but that's beside the point.
I would have told you this. Some of them would have gone shopping with those women. They would have gone shopping with that's what would have happened.
Girl, where'd you get that top?
Exactly.
But here's the thing: is that
I'm obsessed with your boobs.
I don't think it has to do with your straightness. It has to do with the testosterone. I think that I think that it's the level of testosterone in one's body that is being affected by the pheromones. So I think even trans men who got their T right would be falling all over the Orions. That's in my head canon.
So Janeway would have had a good time.
Correct. Because she's got
Great,
so
I
much
like that.
tea.
Well, yeah, maybe gay men would have still been manipulated by them, but would worship them like they're Madonna or Lady Gaga or Judy Garland.
Correct. They don't want to sleep with them. They just want to.
Show me your ways. Teach me how to do it.
Exactly. So is it a flick or is it a push?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a whole new headcanon about Madonna and Kylie now. Totally. My brain is never mind. I don't know where it's going. But I'm going to research this because there's a conspiracy theory out there.
Report back.
The truth is out there.
The moment in Bound that trips me up is I don't remember his name, but the only male Orion that we see, the one with the bulging veins in his head.
And the big green head with he looks like a bowling ball.
He's like, you've got it wrong. It's the men who are the slaves. And I'm like, but
are you?
This begs more explanation than is given.
Yeah, I think the word slave is doing a lot of work there. What?
I'm just hearing cue Britney Spears "Slave" song. I'm a slave for you.
I need a snake. I can't.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an Orion
See-
slave dance with that snake. I mean,
That's the
Mhm.
number you put into the drag show when you finally do the Orion
There it
number.
is.
oh,
Now I'm gonna
Brittany
have
adds-
to.
You do.
Ah.
We said it here.
God.
Sorry.
Wait, do we owe you royalties
Fuck
now or something?
Yes, 10%. I'll come collect later on.
aren't they a
I think-
nonprofit?
I can
Yeah,
can
exactly.
get a 5
You can't do that. You
What
can't do
happened?
that.
I'm a charity of my
shouldn't
own.
do
You
that.
can
They-
see should. See the should word? That doesn't
I
should.
can't imagine scamming off a Star Trek charity. Who would do that?
Scamming.
Well, you know, it's her
Sorry,
special needs fund because she's fucking special and she needs funds.
Yes.
See, Heather, she understands.
But so my question about this
Mhm.
episode: why does
Yes.
Archer accept these women? Like,
He
why?
doesn't, but he doesn't though. It's like they're forced upon him. In no way does he go, yes, come aboard. It's like slowly, when you watch the episode, it's slowly the pheromones start to like take over his brain,
Mhm.
where then he's not himself. But in the beginning, he's like, no, we're just
Oh,
gonna show you
actually, but what
No.
about while they're doing the
Mm.
dance on the Orion ship? He's like Gaga. He's like
Mhm.
not Lady Gaga, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Who is apparently another Orion woman, according to our head canon. But no, he is enthralled.
Mhm.
Not to use the word thrall, but he is absolutely captivated by the dance.
Yeah.
Good thing he
but
was wearing
It's a good
those.
dance, but it's a good music, good dance.
Good thing
but-
he's wearing that dance belt because then he would have been at full mast. You know, that's how enthralled he was. So anyway, sorry, but yeah, you're right. You're right. He did not really accept. He did it like kind of like it was like a diplomatic thing, right?
it was
like he was like,
begrudging.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
okay, they're coming on our ship. And then to sort of watch them weasel their way, like
Yeah.
attach themselves to a different man and weasel their way in to learn certain things was
Right.
interesting. But yet
Yeah.
still it seemed like they were given tasks. Like, you are going to get Archer to, whatever. You are going to
Yep.
get engineering to let you know all the business. You are going to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And so it's
Like-
such a throwaway line to be like, oh, you don't understand. The fuck we don't understand. You're a damn pimp and you're trying to get and the thing is that he was doing it for
Oh,
what are we
I lost
talking
you.
about?
Wow, she just went
God
on mute.
damn it.
Um,
Fuck
You're
me.
back. Say it again.
That was wild. I didn't do anything. No, I'm just
Internet.
saying that, like, yeah, internet. It's just interesting to me that, like, it's such a throwaway line. The dude is like, you're wanted by the syndicate. I work for the syndicate, ergo, it's making it seem like the syndicate is run by women who would then use men to use women to get what they like. No. It doesn't make
It
any
doesn't
sense.
read right. And
Mm-mm.
also, I get that I think the writers were trying to fix this, like, a use of women as objects thing, but instead they made the women these manipulative,
Whores.
yeah, like who like turn women against women, who are like it's like they can't be trusted. Like it went too far in the other direction. They're no longer the victims, but they don't have to be, evil
The perpetrators.
themselves. Yeah,
Mhm.
Right. And what is their skill set? Their skill set is sex.
right.
Boobs.
You know, I
Dancing.
will have to say though, changing it to that, I feel like then has this trope of like, women that like women, that in power or whatever, they're sly, they're sneaky, I think it plays into like some bad stereotypes that I don't think before existed in
Mm.
this particular thing with TOS. I don't know if that makes it better, but I feel like it's still in a sci-fi world. It's very interesting. I think we can pull in some stuff from today, but and view it from that. But in a way, it's the future. It's a fake future. But yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what's fake? What fake?
Yeah, some heresy
Star
coming out
Trek
of Heather
isn't-
Wood here. Fake future, what?
I'm sorry. It's all real. For those listening, everything is real. We're going to have warp drive in 2060 something. In Montana of
Waiting
all
for the
places.
Vulcans. Waiting for the Vulcans.
Vote Vote for John Tester. Okay. This is not a political endorsement.
You didn't notice the eugenics wars happening? Well, they happened.
They're over.
That was a Montana deep cut there, Heather. I appreciated that.
I like that.
And then the only other episode that, even though I told you all to watch an additional one, which had nothing to do with anything, I was saving you from it. Like, again, I was fooled. Damazon, you weren't the only one. I was fooled by a fucking list. And it was pissed off. I was like, this is a shitty episode that I watched. This one did have the Orion Syndicate. Borderlands.
Borderlands, yeah.
Borderlands. And that's where we get to really see what they're about, which is catching people, selling them at an auction for the highest prices, and then turning them off to the highest bidder with those little
I did watch
nubby nubs on their necks to keep them in line. And
what were they called again?
Nubby nubs. Nubby nubs.
Okay.
Yep. You know,
that actually was in the script. They just had to replace it with something, it's just they did that, just the writers, and then they had their technical experts put something in.
Hello,
Nubby
listen.
nubs. They're yup nubs.
Nubby transponder.
Exactly. I mean, listen, if it works for Shonda Rhimes to write dialogue and then go medical stuff here and then pass it along, then Nubby Nubs works too.
Yeah, I think the scripts originally have things a lot of people are, oh, we've got to tech the tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just like Technobabble.
It was I thought it was a really good episode though, and it showed a different side of Orions, like what this quote unquote syndicate was, like what they're about, how they maraud through space, taking people, selling them to the highest bidder to do who knows what. And again, it's about money, right? Remember how I was talking about like what's the money for? Like, because it's the Ferengis and Latinum, but no one else had any money. And now the Orions are selling things for, it was like, this doesn't even cover the cost of whatever. How many, what was their unit of coinage? It wasn't
I don't know. Quatlus. No, that's not right. The economics of the future are very confusing.
It depends on the series that you're watching, what the economics of the future is.
What do you mean future? Have you ever heard of options trading?
Right. Yes.
Derivatives. Okay. Come on.
Economics period is very confusing.
I think it was. I don't know.
Heather went away.
Okay.
Back.
I was say I think it's called Bitcoin.
Oh
yes.
Yes.
I guess they're to end out Mike Jones.
We'll see.
Now, am I crazy?
Mm.
We've heard about the Orion Syndicate. No, we heard about the Orion Syndicate in Deep Space Nine as well.
And a couple references.
Right, but we never actually see an Orion, do we?
We never see an Orion,
so.
no, but we did. I'm thinking about the one where Esri Dax goes back to her.
Yes.
Goes back to Trill, and there is conversation around the Orion Syndicate there, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, it's like someone in her family has like gone into business with them somehow.
Yeah. And then that's the start of the trouble or some jazz like that, right?
Yes.
I forgot my point there, but I'm sure it was a good one.
But just that the Orions have been present, if like largely off screen, for the sort of like bulk of the Berman era Star Trek. Like we never see them in Next Generation.
Yeah.
We never see them in Deep Space Nine or Voyager. And then it's not until Enterprise that we really see them.
They're a shortcut for just saying like bad people, or
right.
It's just easy to say like, oh well, once the fill in the blank bad guys hear about this, you don't want this weapon going to the Orion Syndicate, but
you better eat your vegetables or the Orions will get you.
Right. Nobody expects the Orion Syndicate. let's jump ahead to, I think, the series that has fleshed them out the most,
Yes.
Lower Decks.
This is like fruit ripe for the picking for Lower
Yes.
Decks, I feel like.
Well, first of all, there's Tindy, who is a main character.
Yes.
Who we love.
Who's amazing. And she doesn't like the pirate, stereotype. She says Orions haven't been pirates in almost 5 years, Um, and the episode that we learn the most is Something Borrowed, Something Green, where we finally go to the Orion homeworld and deal with her incredibly, barely the fifth wealthiest family in the syndicate.
Barely.
And I think they fixed some of the like women are evil and manipulative and or men are slave drivers, like that. There's something else going on. It's the women actually have power, but not all women emit pheromones. And not all, like, the men aren't really slaves. They're just like some of them are addicted, I think, to the pheromones. Like, I don't think her dad is clearly not a slave, what's his name? Like, it's like Button, or it's like,
I mean, and that is one of my favorite details about the Lower Decks Orions is that the apostrophe names.
Yes.
That
Erica.
Da Erica.
Da Erica.
We have introduced ourselves as the Mike.
Da Mike. Oh, DeBert. That's his name. DeBert.
DeBert.
Lanita. The day.
I think it would just be Danita.
Which I was supposed to be named, however, the old lady's cousin named her kid that, so then she
Danita?
So you have a second cousin out there named Danita?
I guess. I don't know. I never met her.
That's a buddy comedy waiting to happen.
Is it? I don't think so. Yeah, and then so she went down the alphabet and was like settled on the la part of it all. I was like, okay, works for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, like who just watched this episode?
It's in my brain.
It's in your brain.
So,
I watched it today.
We are not a visual medium.
I watched it today too.
Raising our hand does not help anybody who's listening.
We're on YouTube, but I think
Okay, that's a good point. Sorry.
It was such a very sweet like hand raise, like me. I did.
Don't.
No one.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but I did. Teacher, call on me.
At least you didn't use the like hand raise button in the Zoom.
Yeah, at least I didn't do that, which I try to tell my students that they should use, but
yes.
if any of y'all are listening.
I tried to look for it, but it stopped flashing.
Did it go away?
No, you got it. Oh, also they have the whole now where they recognize hand gestures. So if you do
really?
Zoomy got real fancy about things. So yeah.
Teams does too. We use it at work, and you can just like do a thumbs up, and it'll suddenly or you can do like this, and it'll do things. It's so it can be inopportune at times.
That is weird.
So yeah, it's a good thing that we didn't carry that over to the 24th century or 23rd even.
Indeed.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea. Like, if they're on subspace with somebody on the screen, and in the corner you just see like hearts floating up, like people are
like watching on live, IG live. You're like 100%, hearts.
Sorry, okay. Oh my gosh.
Subspace live.
I did not rewatch it, but it's because I watched it so recently. It's in my head.
It's fresh to all of us, is my point.
Absolutely. How could it not be? It's probably one of the best episodes of watching someone that we have routinely heard talk about how, no, that's not me. I love science. And then like go back to like her actual upbringing and be like, I the motherfucking,
The-
you
the-
will listen to me. It's awesome.
The mistress of the winter constellation.
And I think also let's not forget the Deep Space Nine episode where she meets the other Orion who was raised in Ohio.
Oh, that's true, right?
Which is, and he just wants nothing more than to like identify with his like culture, as a pirate, and she's not having it, which I thought was brilliant.
He is the Worf of Orions. He's like desperately clinging to his culture,
Yeah,
and making his whole personality that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Worf.
Sorry, Worf.
We love you. We love you, Worf.
Well, I think that the purpose of the episode was really to help us explore Tendi, as you said. Like we hadn't heard, like there were these allusions to her. Like there was that one episode where she gets brought along in this mission and to be the cleaner, and then she like becomes like kick ass and like
Yes.
like she has these skills built into her that we don't know why. And then later we find out that she was like trained as an assassin and everything. But I think the second thing that this episode did is they used it as an opportunity to explore this culture in a way and expand the canon, the Star Trek canon, which when Lower Decks is at its best, it references the canon and expands upon it. And I think this is a great example of that.
This is probably the best example of that, because the Orions, like we have said, have been around since the very first episode of Star Trek and have been kind of lightly referenced / ignored all of this time. So it was just such an opportunity for them.
Well, they were one-dimensional, like they're
like the boogeyman.
Like the boogeyman. They're pirates, they're rapists, they're criminals. I'm sure some of them are good people, but
on both sides.
On both sides. Thank you.
Terrible.
Too
soon.
No, it was great. It was great.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I will.
No.
I will.
We don't do sorries. We don't do sorries.
All right. I will.
That's rule number 1.
What's rule number 0?
What I say goes.
Okay. Okay, Juanita, there you go.
Mike Jones is the captain, not you.
Got those. See, that's the surprise. The men are the slaves.
Exactly.
Callback. That's what we call a callback right there, everybody. Oh my goodness. But no, you're correct that like at the end of the day, as we've said, that these newer series of Star Trek are giving us rounded characters, full realized characters. And the fact that they took the time to build upon what we kind of knew, quote unquote, about Orions with the lore and the myth, and then to be like, oh no, some of that's true, but here's a different version of an Orion. And then to actually see her on her homeworld be like, yeah, I am a badass, but I choose science.
So we have the lore, the myth, and now in this episode we have the data.
Exactly. Before we didn't have that.
It's great. It's great. I love it.
Sorry, my poor attempt at a before joke just did not land. So do we think that so now they're 3-dimensional, they're fleshed out. Do we think that I guess first I have to say, was there a problem to be fixed, and did they fix the problem?
Yes, there was a problem because they made the entire half of the population one thing,
right,
to be used in any way, shape, or form,
right?
So problem, and then additionally, they say this entire group of people, this entire race of alien, are thieves, marauders. They deal in slave trade of their own people and other people. Problem. And so now, yes, there's a little bit of syndicate-y, evilly be bully, but not everybody.
Syndicate.
It's syndicate light.
I want to remember that word so I can use it. Evilly be bully.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So
yeah, I
what
think
we're
sorry.
saying is that like really these aliens are just bad, but only mostly aliens. Anyone? Come on, come on.
Okay,
The
okay.
movie.
Mostly.
I do think with it does really, I think we've said this before, but it really makes the Orions feel, in terms of who they are, what they're or behind the kind of thing that we've seen before, which I do like. Oh my, oh, well, shit.
You're
Now
cutting out a little bit.
you'll have to, I guess, let me actually.
Reporting from the front line, Heather Wood.
You're in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
same room, aren't
She's
you?
our war correspondent.
Well, Heather is going to alter her mic settings. That's all.
I think it
Okay.
might be my headphones. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Now I
exactly.
can. Yes.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think like so this gives us kind of like this more complete picture of the Orions, like looking behind the curtain kind of thing about that we haven't seen this before. So that's really, really wonderful. And I do think just props to Lower Decks because I feel like they've done this with other things with Star Trek in a
Hmm.
very hilarious and fun way. So it is fascinating. It feels like it's more of like this really interesting culture that we've not heard a lot about, and there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation that we've heard around. So it kind of makes everything, I think, make a little bit more sense that we like leading up to this point. And I think that's really fascinating. I love that.
Well, and it's
And
kind
you
of
know
like
what
you're saying, I think it's a great race to do that with because of that, because we have known they've existed for so long and it's rumor and speculation and they get to react to that.
Exactly.
I do wonder though if there are people who are going to say like, you did away with the bad guys.
I mean,
Still bad guys.
maybe there are plenty of bad guys, but I think Lower Decks is trying to do for the Orions what Deep Space Nine did for the Ferengi, because they were one
Oh, that's
dimensional,
interesting
nothing but
parallel.
greed, and then we
That's
learned so
good.
much more about them that
That's good, Mike Jones.
they're more three dimensional than that.
Well, and I think that a lot of Star Trek has been very guilty of one-dimensional aliens. I mean, you have a
Absolutely.
planet and a culture based on one trait, and they all wear the
Yes.
same clothes, and they all have the
Yes.
same haircut.
Yes.
Yes.
And it is, and I think that is what we've been getting with a lot of these newer Star Treks is that I mean, Deep Space Nine really with the Ferengi, I think was like like that they could take a culture and show that it had elements of its own opposite built in, and that all of the like any that no culture is a monolith, and that these people can have diversity within all of like we do.
And even can you guys? Well, I hope you guys can still hear me okay. But
Very well, yes.
Great.
I think that also it shows with Lower Decks just as another thing, like it shows the evolution of the Ferengi, because we've seen some of that too, that it has been a shift since Deep Space Nine with Rom as the Grand Nagus.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Can we talk about Osira?
Do we have to?
Osira was the big bad in season 3 of Discovery, right?
Season 3.
The Emerald Chain.
The Emerald Chain. Which is the sort of like 32nd century version of the Syndicate, because they're not called the Syndicate anymore. They're the Emerald Chain.
And it's not just Orions, right? It's Orions and Andorians, maybe?
Andorians, yeah.
Yeah.
Why okay. You know how I feel about, I watch Face Off, so I believe that I am a makeup artiste. I didn't like it. She was like shiny and greasy.
But she had she wasn't just painted green. She had a fully reconstructed prosthetic face.
All of the Orions in Discovery do.
Yes.
I know. Listen,
I didn't like that either.
This is my point. Like, I get it. Like, you were trying to, instead of painting somebody green so that it can stay on, you make a prosthetic, you paint that prosthetic, you put it on them. Like, maybe the under color is green and then you just do a little makeup on. It just,
I don't think
I
that's like a shortcut. I think that was
no, I
to
didn't say it
make
was a
their
shortcut.
face
I
more
didn't say it was
alien.
a short. I didn't say it was a shortcut. Prosthetics are never a shortcut. That
They
takes more time than just slapping some paint on somebody. Like
Right.
there's a life cast. Someone sculpted it. Have you never watched Face Off? Like it was one of the
No, I
greatest.
rely on you and the information that you get from watching it.
Hello, it is Michael Westmore's show, who is the creator of all of like the most amazing movie monsters known to man.
I don't know who
He
Michael
would
Westmore is.
Right.
That's
Oh,
I
oh my God. He's a weird looking rockabilly dude who's got terrible hair but is really good at sculpting. And so
oh my
I
God.
just did I say something wrong, Heather?
No, no, no.
Rockabilly?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, a little bit. He is. I mean, tatted up, rolled up jeans, probably puts a cigarette pack in his white.
This is Michael Westmore?
I think
Yeah,
you're
I
thinking
am confused.
of a different Westmore. Because the
Yes.
whole Westmore family is
Oh, right.
the
And
Michael
Terry Farrell is
Westmore.
their adopted daughter.
Oh,
I also
Not,
say I think
not
they
Michael
did the
Westmore. Jesus Christ, what is his name?
because his
No,
daughter.
Michael Westmore's an old.
Where is our fact
yes.
checker?
Yeah.
Where's our fact checker? He's right here. I'm right here.
If you want to audition to be our producer,
We'll never let you speak.
You'll come
They're
in and
not
say,
supposed to.
Oh, excuse me.
They did do a lot of that.
Glenn Hedrick.
They did do a lot of that prosthetic stuff, like kind of like reconstructing their entire face throughout the Discovery. And I do agree. I didn't really like that as much either. And I also felt like every time Osira was on the screen, I was like, is anybody hearing like that?
Absolutely. She was too. I don't know.
No,
she just
because
wasn't
we're
fully
all busy
realized.
defying gravity double.
right.
I don't know. There was something about her that just didn't curl all the way over for me. Fact checker here. Glenn Hedrick, Hetrick, excuse me, is the one I'm telling you who's rockabilly. Mackenzie Westmore is the daughter of Michael Westmore.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
But
Okay.
Glenn Hetrick is rockabilly and had terrible hair and is also
Got
an
it.
amazing sci-fi makeup artist.
I mean, Osira had really great lines, though. I mean, just when she takes over the Discovery, and this isn't my mix, but it's like, and she's like, get up with, Tilly. And she's like, no, you'll have to kill me first. She goes, please, and get blood all over the chair. And,
It's very mustache twirly.
Yeah. And they leave, and she's like, so what do you guys all say when you do your jumpy thing? Anybody? Fine. Get us out of here. I'm just like, that is such a great villain. It's so good. The lines that she says are just amazing. And I actually saw, it's not Mario Kidder, but that's her daughter who plays Osira. And I don't remember her first name, but
Janet
she is so tall. She is.
Wait,
really
she's
tall.
Margot Kidder's daughter?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Now that
Yeah.
you say that,
Yeah.
I like see it in her face.
Yes,
Oh,
very
yeah.
much so.
She is very, very tall. And I don't know if she's wearing really tall heels, but I don't think so. She dwarfs me in heels, actually. So
Oh, did you meet her?
yeah, I did. I just saw her walking through the Trek Long Island convention, and she is like, oh, I was like, oh my gosh, you definitely. It's like, and it's good because she's a villain in Star Trek. So you have to look up, and that's what you want when you're a villain is command the respect.
Absolutely.
I mean, I gotta say though, I don't
that
think
was.
I had the same problem with the Discovery Orions that you both did because I sort of appreciated having a little bit more alienness to them as opposed to just like a sort of like you might say an alphabet look,
I just didn't want him to be so shiny.
Well-
Listen, it's too much shine or too much dull. Like at the end of Discovery, like I told you,
Okay.
burn them.
Yeah, haven't they ever heard of like setting powder? I don't get it.
Right. They are shiny people.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the drag queen to pipe up.
Because I'm literally just watching like a cute little, like I'm on IMDb or whatever, just watching like a preview clip of her in like the Admiral or whatever, and it's just like the way that it moves, it's weird. Anyway, I like them in Discovery. I just am not a fan of the way that they portray them. Like I like them on Lower Decks better because what animation. And let's be
Yeah.
clear that I had to Google Margot Kidder because I didn't know who y'all were talking about.
Oh,
But
yeah,
Lois-
she-
The original Lois Lane. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Or
Well,
in the
yeah,
movie
the
Lois Lane.
original, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
I
really.
And according to our fact checker is called Memory Alpha. Janet Kidder is the niece of Margot Kidder.
Okay.
Niece.
oh
Um,
shit. So I'm
she's still,
wrong.
I mean, she looks like a daughter. She's looks
She's
exactly like
stunning.
her. Now that you
She's a
say that.
beautiful woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do we think that Discovery added to the Orion story at all, or were they, because they were, as we just said, she was a little mustache twirly villainy,
Mm-hmm.
which was fun,
Mm-hmm.
a broad strokes villain character, but
Didn't they end up on a planet? Is that the one where they ended up in a bar in the planet? And I don't remember this season very well. We've watched a lot of
What
Star
I do
Trek.
remember is if you get abducted by an Orion,
Hmm.
you're fucked. Like you got a
Yeah.
thing attached. You've got like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
yes,
They did
That's
that in
still happening.
Discovery also, right?
Yeah.
yes,
And the Orion with, or rather the Andorian with his antenna missing.
cut off.
Which was
Oh,
the saddest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so bad for him. He didn't have no antennae. He
Yeah.
didn't like
Wait
it.
a minute, don't they're supposed to grow back?
No, they're not slugs.
No, no,
And
no, no. Just got Enterprise made it clear.
Yeah, well,
oh,
guess what? They didn't do that in Discovery. You chopped them suckers off
Okay.
and they didn't
In
grow
Oh,
back.
this
Enterprise, that's how
Maybe.
Cap. See, past lore is contradicting future lore.
we have
Well,
found the
maybe.
also,
flaw.
Well, no,
I think
maybe.
Warren's a strongly worded email.
I think you enjoy writing strongly worded emails. Maybe they put some business on it so it doesn't grow back, like it stunts it, like when you chop off a limb of a tree and you smear it with the stuff so it doesn't grow back a new limb.
Maybe
I
because that's how
Thinking like an
Archer and
Orion.
Fran ended up not killing each other.
I think that
Yes, on
the
Enterprise.
Orion, or not the Orion, but the Andorian character that you're talking about is actually Tilly. Why am I forgetting the actress's name? But that's her,
Mary Wiseman, her husband.
Mary
Yeah.
Wiseman.
it's
That's her. Yes, yes,
no,
yes. That's her husband.
Wow.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
They're
god,
both very, very nice.
yes.
Very lovely.
Oh my god, his name just
And
And
completely left
actually,
me.
speaking of the makeup, he is adorable, and they make him look so ugly. So,
Oh.
yeah,
And
you're
then they
right.
kill him off.
You're right with the makeup.
They kill him off. Noah Averbach Katz.
Wow.
They
That's
were they went to Juilliard together, and they were both there along with Mary Chifo for the year that I worked there as their stage manager.
Ah,
Small world,
small
Well,
world.
let's
We're so
go.
well
After
Let's go, Mike
all,
Jones.
after all.
Let's
They're
go.
very nice people. But they probably would not remember me. That's why we've not asked them to be on the pod.
Oh my goodness.
Like, why would you remember me? Anyway,
Because you're unforgettable.
so have we painted the town green?
It feels pretty green
I
to
think
me.
we have.
I'm green with envy.
Ah,
it ain't easy. I
It's
already
all
used
about
that
the
line.
green.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got to be seen in green.
If you can't find
Because
me,
I never, oh, I was going to say, I never went to Juilliard officially, but I did go there, and security did ask me to leave.
amazing.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I think that we've covered the Orions better than the original series ever did. That's for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%. And I want to thank our guests so much for joining us today. Thank you for taking time, and please tell our listener, both of them, where where they can find you and how they can support To Proudly Go.
Well, for the ones of people listening, I'm kidding. It's
Exactly.
more than that.
Yes.
You can find Heather Wood at I am Heather Wood or the Heather Wood anywhere there's social media, and you can find Proudly Go at Proudly Go anywhere there's also social media, except for Christian Mingle or, Grinder or, Farmers Only, anything like that. You look at our website, toproudlygo.org. And Sunil, where can we find you? At the bar?
You can find me probably at work, but womp womp. Let's end this on a sad note. I work too much.
Well, I'm glad that you could spare the time to join us this evening. It was really, really great having you.
Thank you. I had to let everyone know that all of my once colleagues listening that no, really, I'm going back to work right after this. Don't worry. Not really. But
Amazon, don't we have a date later this?
We have a date. Yes,
but by the time this comes out,
right.
We'll have had our date.
We can say we had a great time on Saturday at To Proudly Go at Barracuda.
The best time ever. So excited. It was great. It was so warm, fun. Drinks were had.
And next time I'm in New York, we all need to go.
I am so happy that you had such a great time, but I hope it wasn't too warm because then I'd be sweating off my lady makeup. So, but
it was warm in spirit, but cool in temperature.
Yeah.
Yes, and we will continue to speak in general, non-specific platitudes until our actual life catches up with our odd recording.
I want to say thank you guys so much for having me and Sunil on here. It's been a lot of fun, and I love the previous episode as well. I'm sure this one will be even better. So thank you all so much. It's going to be lovely to see you this Saturday and pitch the show and get more followers, all that kind of jazz and stuff. I think people are going to have a lot of fun exploring and learning more about you at the show. So looking forward to it.
Yay. So glad to make friends in the pod.
Thank you so much. And remember, live proud and prosper.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you all for listening. If you have liked today's episode, leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening to us. Find us on the socials at Hailing Freak Open or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. Tell your friends and see you at the bar. And with that, I'll say, Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing Frequencies closed, sir.